Question number 8, Dr. David Clark.
My question is to the Minister of Economic Development and asks, does he agree with the Prime Minister when he says of the people of Northland, they want more, they want to go faster? And if so, does he believe that this view on economic growth is unique to the people of Northland?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I do agree with the Prime Minister. In fact, I told Q&A on the weekend that, quote, there's an impatience in Northland to do more, and frankly, I share that impatience. Although we've had some positive economic growth and employment growth in the Northland region in recent times, we recognise there is much more to be done. That's why we're fast-tracking critical infrastructure like regional roading projects, the roads of national significance, the broadband, ultra-fast broadband and rural broadband. That's why we're working with other parties to reform the RMA, to cut red tape and encourage investment in the region.
Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
Did he use the same calculator to work out the benefits of bridges that he used to calculate the Sky City deal, the Chorus bailout and the likelihood of electoral success in Northland? And if so, will he be returning it to the Crosby-Textor concept store?
Order. That question's not in order. Question number 9. Supplementary question. Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
In terms of going faster then, how much time will the double laning of bridges save the average Northlander on their way to the polling booth in 2017?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, the member can make light of that if he wishes, but actually there's a number of reasons why those projects are a good idea. One is the long-standing safety issues, and secondly, one of the key industries in Northland is tourism. Another one is forestry, and another one is the dairy industry, and those single-lane bridges do cause both safety risks and resilience risks. I think this government is very proud that we're making investments in roading in Northland.
Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
Is he planning to take his successful everyone gets a bridge policy nationwide, since it seems to be his only idea for growing regional economies?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, unfortunately for Dr Clark, who's obviously not paying attention, we are actually delivering the double laning of bridges nationwide. In fact, I recall soon after we came into office, we did the Kopu Bridge to the Coromandel, Mr Speaker. We've done the Kurau bridges in Otago. We're doing bridges on the west coast of the South Island, Mr Speaker. We're doing bridges all over the country, as well as national roads of national significance, Mr Speaker. And actually this government has invested more in New Zealand's roading network than virtually any other government.
Supplementary question, right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, has the Minister seen any reports of falling numbers that would indicate in 2008 they may be 38%, in 2011 they may be about 28%, in 2004...
Order. There's been no ministerial responsibility there. Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
It's a pity. Does he expect his attempts in recent weeks to address several years of economic neglect in Northland will lead to improved employment outcomes, especially given recent reports that at least one well-paid job as National Party's campaign manager is now up for grabs?
Order. Again, there is no ministerial responsibility for that. Question number 9, Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.